So Potensic has a brand new sub 249 drone out, and it looks pretty dandy. It happens to be one of the first to use only EIS instead of a gimbal to stabilize it. Is it going to be good enough? Well, let's take it for a flight, check it out. Let's go. Hey, so thanks for stopping by. It's really good to see you. So we want to take the Potensic mini drone out for a fly, but first I want to mention that this is not sponsored by Potensic. I'm not being paid anything for this review. Potensic will not get to see the video before it is posted. It does not have the opportunity to approve or change any of the content, so you can be confident, as always, that the views presented here are my own based on my honest observations and testing. So as I mentioned, this is the Atom SE. It's a brand new, low cost, but full featured mini model from Potensic. The build quality looks pretty good, so I'm kind of excited. I have not flown this yet, so you're gonna fly it with me the first time today. Once I run through all the flights, of course, I'm gonna take it back into the studio and we'll go through everything that comes in the box, the pricing, my thoughts about the performance and all that kind of stuff. So before we take it out for a flight, let's run through the specs on this, just so you know what we're talking about. So this is below 249 grams, so you do not need to register it if you're flying here as a hobbyist in the United States. But if you want to fly under 107, you're going to need to register it anyway. And mentioning 107, if you're thinking about getting your 107 or wondering even what the heck does a 107 do for me, I'll put a video up here so you can go ahead and check that out, because I did a video with Greg at Pilot Institute just talking about the benefits and negatives and the things you can do extra with 107. So if you're interested in that at all, go check that video out because I think it'll answer your questions. It also has a 12 megapixel camera, and it has an SD card on board, so it has 4K 30 footage coming out of this camera. But remember, there is no gimbal. This is 100% EIS. Think of a GoPro. It doesn't have a gimbal, and it still has stable footage. So I'm really, really hopeful that they've come a long way with this. It also has something called PicSync 2.0, which touts a 4-kilometer transmission range, which is like 2.5 miles. Now, it also has a 31-minute battery life per battery, and this particular kit comes with 2 for the price I'm going to talk about later. Has a high precision GPS plus Optivision on the bottom. Lastly, of course, it has modes like orbit, follow, waypoints, and we'll check out some of those, of course, just to make sure that they do their thing. So it is still cold, even though it's warmer than it has been. So let's just get it done, see what this does. So it tells us that we want to start the remote first, and then we want to start the drone. So we're going to go ahead and start that up. That way the app is going to connect to it. All right, so we're just going to wait for the GPS to pick up a little bit here. We had 0, now we have 6, so we're just going to let that tick up a little bit more here. Okay, so horizontal, vertical. All right. Calibration complete. We'll take it. So let's just go ahead and do a manual takeoff here. We have 13 satellites, which is really good. Oh, very nice right away here. Very nice. This thing is really nice and stable sitting here. Very nice indeed. Let's go ahead and start to record. There we go. So can you see me in the camera here? How do I look in there? Let's move this a little bit. Let's just go ahead and take this up here and see what it does. We'll do a small flight around here now recording. Just see what it does. For a non-gimbal drone, with the EIS, they did a pretty good job so far. It's not perfect. I can see the horizon tilt and a little bit of the horizon kind of going goofy here. But overall, for a non-gimbal drone, this is pretty darn good. Now, again, you have to think that this is their first shot at this. So it's only going to get better from here. So, wow, this is pretty darn stable, I got to say. It's too bad that it is a kind of an ugly gray day, because you know, it's not really fair to see how much color is going to be here when it's ugly and gray and white. There just certainly isn't any color, so that's unfortunate. So let's go ahead and do a couple of the smart functions as long as we have it here. Let's see what it does here. So let's bring it down and let's just do an orbit and see what that orbit looks like, see what that stability looks like with the EIS. All right, so let's go ahead and do an orbit and see what that looks like. So, okay, so low power. So I'm gonna go ahead and change that battery right away. I'm gonna bring that home. As I return to home. Okay. All right, so that was our first return to home. I'm gonna go ahead and flip the battery out. While I'm doing this battery, I'll make sure that I put the flight time that I got with that first battery up here. Ooh, my hands are getting cold out here though, I tell you. It's better than it has been, but it is still pretty darn cold. So let's go ahead and do our orbit again. Quick follow me, see how that does, and then we'll end it up here. And there it goes, okay. All right, and there's our orbit. Looking good. Tell me how that stability looks. Again, remember this is not a gimbal drone. So this is all EAS. So from what I can see here, it's pretty stable. Let's do a follow, see what that looks like. Now this is going to be a GPS follow, so it's going to follow the remote. It's not going to follow me like you have some of the active track where it actually sees visually. It's going to follow the GPS of the remote, so hopefully that's clean. We'll see what it looks like here. Here's our follow me. So there it is. It says it's in follow me mode up here in the corner, so let's just take a little walk, see what that looks like. Looks like it's doing a pretty good job. I don't know if you're able to hear me yet with this microphone. I do have that new DJI microphone on. So you let me know also what that sounds like. I'll put a link to that video so you can check out that DJI mic because it seems pretty cool, but it's the first time I'm using it, so let me know what you think of the sound from this as well. Okay, so there we go. I think it was doing a pretty good job. Okay. So it did do its thing here for the follow me. So now that we did that, I'm going to go ahead and exit this. And I want to do a distance test, and I'm going to check the speeds on this as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and put it in the sport mode, just see what this looks like here. 26, 28, 30, 32, 33, 34. There it goes over the top of us. So now we're out at 600 feet. Still don't have any problem here. The FPV is moving just a little. It seems to be kind of stuttering a little bit here. It is still live, but it is getting to be a little bit kind of chattery. And I'm about 900 feet now. Okay, so it looks to me like, I'm going to cancel this again here, that I lose connection here at about 900 feet. So that's a lot shorter than it's supposed to be, obviously. Okay, full stop. I'm going to break in here and I want to explain something, because when I first did the range test, I was getting between 600 and 800 feet, and then I was losing signal. My FPV went away, it disconnected, and automatically started a return to home. I did see some other reviews of the Atom SE as well, say they had the same issues. So just to make sure, I reached out to Potensic support. And I asked them if there was anything I needed to do, if there was a firmware upgrade or something that might be available. However, they said make sure you don't have any devices on 2.4 gigahertz. And it dawned on me that I've got this brand new DJI mic that is on the 2.4 gigahertz transmission. And of course, I also did do a review on the DJI mic where I had interference on lav mics because of that. I'll put that video up here in case you're interested on that. But the DJI mic by itself could be a source of interference. Now what you're seeing here while I'm doing this voiceover is the flight when I turned off the DJI mic and in the same area. Now I did have my Eagle Eye VO out a few hundred feet from me, and we went out, and to be honest, I expected it to fail within 600 or 700 feet, so I really wasn't that worried about it. However, as I kept going and trying to get some cinematic footage along the way, I was able to get much farther, and there was not a bit of breakup. The FPV was very solid. I never had a problem with it disconnecting or anything. So I'm not too proud to admit that I was wrong in this case. I did forget a 2.4 gigahertz device hanging right on my chest, inches away from the controller, which obviously degraded the signal. And of course, I want to make sure I tell you guys about it, because if you're trying to fly it and have some issues, it might be something that you can solve yourself, and showed you that the distance test did work out just fine according to the specifications. See what it looks like here? It's above us here, and it's doing the return to home, so I'm going to see what it does all by itself. So you see where it landed over here. So not the worst we ever had, but not the best, of course, either, that far off of the pad. But so let's go ahead and take this into the studio. My fingers are frozen solid, and I'll give you the lowdown on what comes in the kit, the pricing, and my likes and dislikes, and we'll finish this video off. So welcome back in the studio after being out in that cold. I want to go through first and show you what comes in the kit. There is two kits that are available. One is a basic kit, which comes with one battery, the drone, the remote, the cables, and the manual. And then there is a Fly More kit, which comes with the drone, the remote, two batteries, a fitted case, and of course the cables and the manual. Now as far as the pricing goes, right now the basic kit is for $249, and they are sold out of that model. And the Fly More package is $299. But it is on sale right now for $249. Plus there's an exclusive ALIENDRONES discount, which I'll put in the description here, and you could get an additional $15 off, even off the sale price. So that's $235 for the Fly More package. Also, they are coming out with an Atom that is going to be a 3-axis gimbal. It should be the same platform, same sub $249 drone, but it will have a 3-axis gimbal. Now I think that's going to be killer. But just know that come a couple months from now, maybe in March, there's going to be another one of these. And I'm really excited to see that when it comes out, because I think that's going to be one to watch. So let's go through the likes and dislikes. And first I'll go through the likes of this drone. So first, one of my likes is that the footage is stable. Now you do have to work at it a little bit to keep it calm and keep your movements cinematic. But the footage coming out here is pretty stable. So it's pretty good. And actually excellent if you consider there's no gimbal on this drone. Now, I'll get into more of the gimbal in just a minute, so hang on. Next, it flies great. It is very snappy, very quick, and is very responsive. Also, the fit and finish and the quality is quite good. Everything fits together well, the plastic is molded well. It looks really professional. It's really a quality made drone. Also, I do like that it has remote firmware upgrades. The first time that I turned this on, it did do a firmware upgrade to make some improvements to stability and things. So again, that's really nice that if they do find an error or find a way to make some things better, that they can correct it in firmware. Next, I do like the transmission distance on here being up to 4-kilometer range. Now I wasn't able to test it that far, but certainly within visual line of sight, I had no problems. That is great for a drone of this price. And of course, nothing is perfect, and there are some things that I think could be done better. And the first thing is there is a significant horizon tilt issue. And I can hear you now saying, wait a minute, in your first like, you said the video was stable. How can you now say that the horizon is tilting? That's just the opposite of stable. Well, let me explain. When you're moving, especially with a system like this without a gimbal, if you are taking some video where there's horizon or some streets or buildings or something where you can tell that the horizon is tilted while you're doing that, it will show up in your video if you have a little bit of wind where it's fighting it and the drone itself is tilted, for instance. It does try to compensate for it, but it's not fast enough. Maybe in the next version, this will come out and you won't be able to tell the difference. But for now, the horizon tilt is a little bit of a negative in the video. Also, I'd like to see the camera tilt be a little smoother. Now, I don't mean the horizon tilt, I mean the tilt of the camera from 0 down to 90 degrees when you're trying to do a cinematic move or point the camera down. Right now it is like a switch. When you move the little dial, it simply bumps down a little bit. It doesn't go very smooth. When you hold it, it does go down, but it goes down way too fast. Now I would like to see an analog switch to where if I barely touch that, it would move very slow so that I could use that axis as a cinematic roll in the video, which is one of the things I love to do. That's called the jib move, and that's one of my very favorite moves. It's very cinematic. So without that analog, very slow gimbal move, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to do. Overall, it was an enjoyable experience. I didn't have any weird things go on, you know what I mean? No toilet bowling, no clicking on a menu and having it pop up something in a language I didn't understand or something that didn't make sense. All the menus were concise, they worked, it was clean. Everything worked every time, the connection, the GPS, everything just worked. So overall, the experience that I had was very good for this price of drone, because that's one of the things you kind of give up when you start talking about a drone in a $235 range, is you start to accept more quirks and problems and weird things that happen because you're kind of getting what you pay for. But in this case, I think this is an exception that I think for the money you're paying, you're really getting, I think, a good value. So with that, please make sure you leave me your comments on what you thought of this drone. And of course, leave a like if you liked this video. And of course, if you did not like this video, please make sure you click that dislike button twice. That will really show me. Of course, all the links for everything that I talked about will be in the description, so feel free to click on those. And if you are interested in purchasing this drone, don't forget that Potensic was nice enough to send along that ALIENDRONES exclusive discount. So I'll put that information in the description so you can go ahead and take a look at that if you're interested. So with that, thank you very much for making it this far in the video. I know it was a little bit longer one. And until next time, in the next video, good flying.